breaking news from Shams Charania this morning regarding HBCU basketball. John Wall is expected to take over basketball operations for Howard University. That means Wall will return to D.C., where he played for the Wizards for a decade after being the #1 overall pick. Howard has made the NCAA tournament 3 out of the last 4 seasons. So John Wall now going to take over basketball operations for Howard. You like this, Wilbon?
Love it. Love it. John has not stopped having a presence in Washington, in D.C., in greater D.C. And Kenny Blakeney, coach of Howard's men's basketball team, who I covered as a player at Duke and now get to see, Kenny has done an incredible job at Howard and marshaling resources. This is what John is going to be able to do, too. People in greater Washington now look at 2 proven basketball people. Kenny at this level, all right, college basketball player, and he played on those, Grant Hill, Leitner, Coach K teams, and John Wall as, let's face it, I mean, the last time the Wizards had anything going on, it was John Wall. Stephen A., were you at this game jumping on the table in Washington after beating the Celtics in Game 6? Didn't work out so well back in Boston in Game 7.
Work on in Game 7.
In Bradley Beal, but I'm glad that John, who has a way with young people that folks might not know about because they're just looking at him dealing with teammates and grown folks, and the Wizards did not have much playoff success. I know about this because my son has been around John Wall growing up all his years, and John has that Pied Piper effect, and I'm hoping that he and Kenny Blakeney in this new era, you have to have a director of basketball ops or a GM. This is not, your grandfather's generation of basketball when it comes to how this has to be administered, how it has to be overseen, how the fundraising that has to go. A lot of things are involved here, and I just wish John Wall all the best going forward with this mission.
I wanted Wilbon to go first because he's more qualified than me, being a former columnist of the Washington Post and covering John Wall as extensively as he did. Obviously, I've been to a lot of games, had friends and loved ones in D.C. I used to go to a lot of those games with them. Wilbon would see me at a lot of those games with them. And doing what we do for a living, Shay, and having to call balls and strikes, figuratively and verbally speaking, and having to do that, there are some people that come along that make it harder for you than others because of how decent they are at their core. And one of those people was John Wall. John Wall is one of the real good guys. When I heard about this, I was immediately happy for him because he's still around the game. And this was not a scrub. This was not somebody who couldn't play. This was the face of the Washington Wizards franchise for a while. And you had people that were loving Bradley Beal too. But John Wall was something special. And he was in a career in 11 years, a career 18-8 player. I found myself at times, Wilbon, wishing he had a better jump shot, but that was about it. I mean, a more consistent jumper, because you can imagine if he had that, imagine how great he could be. But the brother coming out of Kentucky, the brother could ball. He was #1 pick. He was a star for the Wizards. He could play. And really a decent, good guy. And so when you see this kind of opportunity and you're connected to HBCUs the way that I am, which is near and dear to my heart, always looking to big up HBCUs any chance I get, it's like welcoming, a dude to the family, and we're lucky to have him. John Wall was a hell of a basketball player. He knows basketball. I've seen him doing some television work on the NBA. He knows the game. He knows how to discuss the game. He knows what it takes. No, he never won in the biggest, he's never won a championship. But this was no scrub, and he was no average player. He could ball. He could absolutely ball. And he was truly one of the good guys, and I think Wilbon could confirm that better than most. I'm really happy for him. I'm happy for Howard. And I just wish him and Coach Blakeney, who just took them to the NCAA tournament and the 24-11 record, I wish them all the best. I'm really happy for John Wall. He deserves this opportunity, and I think that he's going to be a leader of young men, and those young men need to listen to what he has to say because he has a lot of pearls of wisdom to give them.
Congratulations to John Wall on this new opportunity.
The ABA and the NBA, is it that different from those instances? I think not.
So no, they should not be.
Well, let's say
be able to go back to the PGA.
They're going to be punished, and they're going to, but Should they be?
Let me tell you something.
Generational wealth, they were going to turn that down?
Let's say
I don't want to hear any sanctimony coming from the PGA about that particular element.
Yeah, I know we got to go. I know we got to go to commercial quick. Let me say this. If the PGA decides to punish these golfers, we should be all, excuse my language, we should stay in their ass like white on rice. They should not be punishing anybody. It was their negligence. It was their abuse. It was their taking golfers for granted that forced the existence of LIV to begin with. The players didn't want to leave the PGA. They were forced to because they were looking for better opportunities because of the manner in which they were treated. And we know this because the PGA stepped in afterwards once LIV came into existence, Mike Wilbon, if you remember, and they expressed a willingness to make these modifications because they knew that you had done the players wrong. You wouldn't have felt the need to alternative measures and to modify your approach if you thought you were doing the right thing. You knew you were doing the wrong thing. You knew you were taking them for granted. And that's what forced their hand. Now, we have to understand, LIV invested, I believe it was like $6 billion, if I remember correctly, Wilbon, and it was reported losses of about $1.4 billion over the first 3.5 years. And then when you look at this, it says here, golf highlights, stuff like that. They were strong, LIV was strong digitally. But in terms of linear television, their audiences were roughly 17 times smaller than PGA Tour events during head-to-head weekends. So we understand, at least here in America, it's about the PGA. It ain't about LIV. And the players knew that. But at the end of the day, this is how you're making a living. And all they wanted was to be treated better based on the revenue that they were generating for the PGA. And the PGA stuck their nose up like the arrogant people that they were. And they mistreated these guys. So now that this is going away, supposedly, and these PGA players or these players from LIV are going to looking to come back, I don't want to hear anything about punishment. They should be embraced. They should be accepted. And PGA should learn from this and treat them more fairly than they did in the past, which forced LIV's existence to begin with. If they don't, as Kendrick Perkins would say, we should be in their ass like back pockets. Plain and simple. They don't need to be doing that to these guys. Leave them alone. Let them come back and let's enjoy golf.
Well, I look forward to them hopefully coming back to the PGA. It will only elevate the entire field, and that will be exciting for next season. Coming up,
absolutely.
Kenny Smith is going to hop in to weigh in on LeBron and what the Lakers have done. Wait until you hear who's sounding the alarm on the purple and gold plus first round series for Nikola Jokic. Will we look at him differently if they lose to the Wolves without Anthony Edwards, who's hurt? The answer might surprise you.